And those disciplines are there for a reason, and it's to automate things throughout the business and throughout all the processes. So eManage is not designed for individuals, like a person or a department or whatever. It's designed for an entire business. And so when we're looking at things, it's important to understand that what you're doing is affecting not only yourself, but it's affecting the next person that touches the project, and the next person, and the next person, and the next person. So it's very important that we follow these. And that way your entire team's you're gonna maximize your potential, and the business is gonna run better and more efficient and save money and all that good stuff. But and the reason why I'm kind of starting with this is that there might be something that you think is not important, or it's a pain in the butt, or why do I have to do this, or whatever, but it's because maybe it's not necessary for you, it's for somebody else. And it's going to affect them in a huge way, okay? And so it's real important. As I go through some of this, I'll kind of point out some of those disciplines, but then also some of the best practices, because those best practices are ultimately, they're there for a reason, and it's to make it easier for you and everybody else, and to maximize the potential of the software. And real quick, just so you guys know, my background, I've been using the software for over 14 years now. And I am the Hayworth dealer principal out in Honolulu, Hawaii. And we cover Hawaii and Japan and Korea and Guam and all over the Pacific Basin. So I not only use the system myself, but my entire team uses it. We have about 34 employees and installers and everything. And I'm also a business partner with the eManage software. So I'm familiar with the front end and the back end of it. Now, one of the most important parts of eManage is, well, not only that you have your contact and your customer in there, but because you have to have it to create a project, but it really starts with this bill of materials. Because this bill of materials are all the parts and pieces, it's all the costs and the sales and all that, all the margin and everything. And all these parts and pieces are tied to account mapping for your accounting and your books for the business. So it's very important that, way you get them into eManage, that you're following the best practices, and you're also following those disciplines that are set forth in here. But again, you're also going to get the best bang for your buck out of it. Okay, with that being said, are there any questions before I move on? Everybody kind of got a good understanding?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, good. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly go into this drawing, and I'll go back to the original drawing I had. And this is one of the things that I talked to the designers about. And I won't touch on it too much, but if they tag in the drawing, and they'll tag areas, if you notice here, I have tag 01, and then it has seating 02, special 03 workstations. If they tag in this way, when you guys, or they import, or anyone who imports, it will import it into the bill of materials. And let me just pull one up here. It will pull it into the bill of materials exactly the way you brought it in, the way they tagged it. So this is actually a different one I just imported, but it sorted it by that 01, 02, 03, 04, but then it put that tag name in here. So I tag 2. So are you guys familiar with this, the way this tagging works and the phase name?
No.
Okay. So you guys are using tag 2 inside of Canvas or Project Matrix, and that will come in as this phase name. Okay. Now the phase name this is a way to group. your quote, on how you want your quote to look. Okay, so at the very top, and this is kind of the, the way eManage is structured, is at the very top you have what we call an option name, and an option name could be it's a grouping of all the parts. So if I click at this very top level, every single part in there is going to show up down here. Okay, and this has 115 parts. Now under this top level, this option, and I have these subcategories which we call phases. So if I click on phases, now there's 42 parts in here. If I click on workstations, there's 10 parts and 6 parts. So the summary of all of these parts is in this top level. So that means if I wanted to do my pricing, I can go right across over here, and if I want to set my margin and I wanted a 30 margin, I could just type it in at this very top level and it will update all the margin down below. So I don't have to go to every single grouping or individual parts to adjust my pricing or do my pricing. Now, if I did want to, I could go to my workstations here and I can change this to, a different margin. But up here is just the summary. So everything kind of works up. Okay. Now, with these groupings, we call this an option name, and it could mean, a true option. So this could be option 1, and actually I have another one hidden here, which is not current, and I'll make it current. And this is option 2. So there could be 2 different things, and this one is, maybe no chairs. Okay, so you could create as many options as you want within a quote. And maybe I do, the customer wants another design, and so you submit a request to have another design done, and then you can import that in. So I'm just clicking on this little import button, and we always import this Canvas XML if it's coming from Canvas, and we'll browse for the file. And I have some demo files here, and I'll grab that. And once it comes in, it's grabbing the file and validate it, and then it will import all those parts and pieces into the bill of materials. So,
hey, Stephen, can I ask you a question real quick?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, this is Marcia.
Yeah.
When you're talking about going up there into that option and setting your margin.
Yes.
Okay, does it have to be set up a certain way in CAD to be able to do that?
No.
Okay, it doesn't work on my computer to do that.
Oh, when you click on margin, it's not working?
No. Not up there. Or down below on mine. And it also doesn't work unless they fixed it. Stephanie was working on fixing it. I would go up to price by and then manufacturing code, and I would try to do it that way, and it wouldn't set my margin. So I have been having to go down line by line and setting all my margins.
Okay, so here's a couple things. So I have, check this pricing type right here. I don't know what your default is, but if it's for markup, then yeah, changing this margin, I think that you have to do it by markup, not by margin. But make sure it's set for discount from list. But otherwise,
so it does need to be on discount list and not markup.
Yeah, I would make sure your default is set to discount from list.
Okay, that's what's on.
Yeah. Now I haven't heard about this being a problem, but if you guys are having this problem, and like I said, I'm using this every day, and I'm going through it right now, and it is updating. The only other thing is that you guys have this set, which if I scroll across here, there is a, where is it? Oh, maybe I got it hidden. There is a, what is it called? It is called visible. Oh, it's called adjustable. So there is a column here called adjustable. And if it's set to not be adjustable, then you can't adjust it anywhere up here. And this, yeah, so this is a setting, actually, that's in
the adjustable box needs to be checked.
Yeah, but you don't want to have to sit there and manually go in and do that. Okay, so let me show you real quick. Who's online that has access to the administrator program?
I do.
Okay, I'm sorry, who's that? Is that Kelly? Or
yeah.
Okay, so if you log into the administrator and you go to the corporate divisions and you go into drop down lists, and I think it is, wait, it's one of two areas. It's either okay, so parts category. If you go in here in your parts category, which is probably going to be material, you need to make sure that this checkbox adjustable is set. And then that will be default. Because it sounds like it's not set to be adjustable. Because there's...
Tell us is.
I'm sorry, what's that?
What?
I was asking Kelly if she can tell us if that box is set.
Yeah, you guys could check it. I don't think she needs to check it right now, but if she could check it now, that's fine. If not, then you guys could do it later. But that's one of the only things that it could be. And if it's not that, then call into support, because this has never been a problem. And if you guys have the exact same software as I do, so we'll find it out. Now, with that being said, real quick, because I don't want to spend too much time on troubleshooting errors. So I know it works, and if it's not working, it's got to be either a setting or calling the support, and then we'll get it taken care of. Now, if in the meantime, if you see that these guys are not checked or whatever, you can still go down here and select all the parts and right-click, and you can change the pricing. So you can change the manufacturer's discount, you can change the customer discount, you can change the profit margin, the tax rate, and so on, just by right-clicking, okay? You can also, I think, change if it is adjustable or not. Right here, if you right-click, and then you can set those so they are adjustable. And then you can do that. Okay? Got it?
Got it.
Yeah, so then you don't have to manually go through this one at a time. Yeah, that's a total nightmare. that makes me sick. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
But it must be this checkbox. And if not, then we'll figure out what it is, but I don't think it is a problem. That's because otherwise everybody would experience it, and we would be getting a mass amount of phone calls. Okay. Any other questions why I'm up here on this top level? Okay, I'll move on. Okay, so what I was saying here is each one of these options, these groupings, you notice I have sample project and sample project option 2, and then this could be sample project or project option 3, okay? And these all could be different options. So one of the things that I mentioned to the design team is anytime you're going to change the price, you should always create a new option. And when you create an option, for every new option created, when you click on quotes, it's going to create a new quote number. This is a good best practices and a good rule of thumb, because what you want to do is when you're creating a quote to your customer, and if they make a change that's going to affect the price, then they should be getting a whole new quote number, because I have seen people order the wrong stuff. Not using eManage, but just anything. You could actually order the wrong items because they sign off on a quote on option number 2, and you thought they wanted option 3, but there's no way to really verify it without going through every line item that it could accidentally happen. But it will keep a history of everything that you do, and that you can see how much work you've done, but you can also go back to those options if they do want to go with option 1, it is there. Now, so what happens is a couple ways that you can do this. I don't know if you guys saw, but if I did option, say I gave them option 3 and they said, you know what, I actually like option 1, but let's take out the cafe tables and chairs. So now you can copy, right click, copy, and then come down here and right click and paste, and it will paste an identical copy of this option. And then what I'll do is once it pastes, I'm going to go in and I'm going to change the name, and then I'm going to delete the cafe tables and chairs. So let's give it a second here to paste. But then it will create a new quote number, and then I'll have all those items. Okay, so here I have this one, and I'm going to call this option 4. And then I'll go inside of here, and I will delete the cafe tables and chairs. Okay? And delete that. Now, one thing that happens as well is every time you delete something, there's this little, every time you delete something, it's saving a history of what was deleted. So if I right click and I paste from clipboard and I go up to the bottom here and show recently deleted, these are all the things I deleted. Okay, so you actually have a backup of everything you're deleted. And if you want to undelete it, all you do is select it and paste it back. And it will paste it back into your bill of materials. Okay? So, and then the items that aren't current, just uncheck these guys and make them not current. Okay, and it crosses them out. And then when you go to your quotes, it's only going to show the most current one. Okay? Now, I'm going to go ahead and uncheck these, because one of the things that you want to do first before you do that is when you're in your quotes, there's these 2 check boxes. For salespeople and for the whole company, these are very important check boxes. Valid means that this quote is still valid. But most likely means this is the quote that they're most likely going to buy. Okay, so if you notice here, I have 3 valid quotes and I have 3 most likelies. So when you look at your forecasting as a salesperson in your current opportunities, or when the company looks at all the potential business out there, it's going to show the total amount of the most likelies. So on this project, it's going to show me this 163 plus 290 plus 170. It's going to add all of that together, and that's my forecast. So in this scenario, that's wrong. I overstated my forecast. So really what should happen is I only have one most likely, but these all may be valid. Because in my forecast, now it's going to forecast the dollar amount that's most likely the sale. Okay, does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, these check boxes, this is the responsibility of the entire company, not only the salespeople. Everybody should look at this and uncheck it or check it. It's just it's good for business. Ultimately, it does fall on the salesperson, because whether they're overstating or whatever, but everybody should be aware of these two check boxes. Okay? Now, just so you guys as well, salespeople know that current opportunities, as this scenario, you have multiple quotes. So the most likely is the dollar amount that's going to show for your current opportunities. But active quotes these are all valid, so they're all active. So all three of these quotes will show up in active quotes, and then after 30 days it expires, and it's going to show up in expired quotes. So once you either uncheck it so it's not valid anymore, or you update the date, the expiration date, and it will take it out of expired and move it back into active. Okay? Okay. You guys got that? So these check boxes are very important. Okay, so let's get back to the quote here. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to uncheck these guys and get rid of them. So we only focus on one of these. When we create this quote, now, do you guys understand? You guys got an idea of the option and then these phases now? That these are groupings, right? So this is a way to group your quote to your customer, okay? So now, if I create these, I have this option and I created these phases here, these groupings. Now I can actually modify the description of this phase here. And if I just double click on this, it's going to open up a phase description, and I have a picture for that phase. Okay? And the way you get the picture here, are you guys familiar with this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just copy and pasted this in from the Hayworth website. And you can type whatever you want, and you can make things bold. And the picture, you can either browse on your desktop, on your computer or whatever, or you just go to the website, and you can basically just right-click on a picture, copy it, and then right-click and paste it. Let me go back into another one here. And I can either take this one, and I can do a little snippet here. Then I could grab this guy because I think that's cool, and I'll just copy it, click on this copy, and when I go back into eManage, all I do is right-click in here and paste, and it changes it. Or I could click on this thing up here and paste it, okay? And then I apply the text. So now I have a nice picture. So I can start to add. Oh, sorry.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
How can we make that picture appear larger on the quote?
Okay.
When we put them into our, they're teeny tiny.
Okay, does it look like, wait, did I do it on this one? No, it looks like.
It looks like those
like this, right here?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So here's the function that the way this works and why this is small here. Okay, we call it a hybrid phase quote, which is basically a lump sum. This is a lump sum price. So it includes all the parts and pieces, labor, whatever you want. It includes everything and puts it in like this. So what we did is we're basically what you're telling it to do is show up as a line item. So we made it look exactly like a line item. So it's a small picture and a description, okay? Because if you notice on mine here, let me go to the very end, my contract services, it looks like a line item.
Correct.
So it doesn't look like anything else. So the picture would show up small like that. Now, the way it does that is if you put a phase on the right side over here, is the phase, it's that phase quantity. So if you put a phase quantity, this is where it's doing the lump sum. It's rolling up all the parts. If I take this phase quantity out, so I'm just going to delete that. I'm going to delete the unit of measure, and I go to print this quote again. So I'm just going to click on this, and I'm going to click on the print quote. I'm not going to double click on it and open it. And I have a custom quote here. But now when I print this quote, it is going to show, come on, it will show a big picture and a description. But it shows all the line items underneath it.
Oh, that's nice. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So if you notice, I actually ran a quote. Whoops. Where is that other quote? So this is a quote for one of our customers. It's a hospital. Here's our summary page, and here's the option name, and then it breaks it out by the phase and the tag. And then it's a planes and height adjustable table, and there's a picture, and then there's the item. And it's on one page. Then the next page is the crank height. And the next page is an electric. And then the next page is a chair, and so on. So, and this one, if you notice, I put a picture in the line item, an actual regular picture. I didn't use the project matrix picture, the default.
Okay.
And that's very easy to do. Is all you do is you click on, just like when you double click down here, rather than double clicking here, you can right click and you can add modify picture. And you can add a picture.
That'll show up on the actual line.
Yeah, that shows on the line. So one of the things that's really cool about that is here, I'm going to show you another project here where we actually did, okay, wait, same. Oh, where is it? Do we book this yet? Maybe I didn't book it yet. St. Francis Phase 3, okay? Now, what we did is we actually created line items, COM, and put the COM in the part. So let me go in here and I'll show you this quote. And we did a phase quote. So this was a really big project. And I have one here. So in fact, if you notice here, I have lower level basement, first floor, second floor, third floor, fourth floor. Okay? These are all separate options. And when I did the quote, you'll see there's lower, third floor, fourth, second, and first. And then there's one here called combined. So I didn't want to actually give them individual quotes, but then I created one quote with all of those options together. So if I click on this little plus, you can see all the options that are in there. And the way that I did that is all I did was come in here and say, create a new quote. And it's going to open up my quote window. And inside of here, then I select my options, and I just checked off what options I wanted to show on this quote. So I just selected them all, and I saved and print. You know, I gave it a quote name. You know, I wanted to show the cover and the phase, I did this stuff. And then I created a new quote with everything, all the combined. So if I double click on this and open it, you'll notice that all of the options down here are checked off. Okay? So you can make, even though I have, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 options in the bill of materials, I can create as many quotes as I want to that consist of different variations of all these options. Like maybe they said, oh, give me a quote for only the 2nd and 4th floor. And I just go up there and create a new quote and do just 2nd and 4th. It's a whole new quote number. I didn't have to do anything in the bill of materials. Okay? Got it? Okay. So I'm going to save and print this one. And I'm going to show you what we did on this guy. So this one is all that hybrid phase quote. So it's all lump sum, bulk, what do you call it? It's all, I combined all the pricing. So it's lump sum pricing. But what we did is we created some items that are colors. And so we put the color. So it's a big quote. So it's taking just a second. But here we go. So it's loading. And so here's my cover. And if you notice, here's my option, lower level basement. And here's all the tags. They wanted it tagged by the item. Okay, and you see COM. They wanted to know the pricing for the COM as well. So that was one floor. Then this is the first floor. This is the second floor. And the second floor total. Then the third floor. And then the grand total. Okay, now the quote, that's what it looks like. We didn't show all the individual line items. We actually did that hybrid phase quote. So this is the phase picture and the phase description and the total price.
These are tags.
Here's the fabric. Here's a pillow. Here's fabric. Here's a chair. Here's the fabrics for that chair, and so on. Okay? And you notice lower level, basement, assisted living. And then when you come down, there's the total for that, and then it starts the next, first floor. Okay? And you notice on the left side over here, these are all bookmarks. So if I click on that, the first floor, click on this, second floor, third floor, fourth floor. If I go inside and I want to see a specific item, I could click for that item. If I want to see the installation and stuff, it's there. But these bookmarks, when you export this as a PDF or you send this as an email, it will create those bookmarks in the PDF as well. Okay? And you guys know that little button right there, that envelope is an email, right? So all you need to do is just send as an email, and you can just send it right from eManage. And it will save it to the project automatically. So you have a history of that. Okay, this is a big, I don't know how many, I think it's a couple hundred pages. So it's building that PDF right now. And here's the email, there's the quote, and then all I do is start typing, and it pulls up the user. It's saving it to this project, type in a subject, type in a name, and hit send. Okay? You guys know that? Okay, good. Okay, so any questions on this quote right there? Those different options I did?
No, it's beautiful.
Okay, cool. Cool. Now, let's get back to this bill of materials real quick. So this is something that was imported in, okay? And we have all of our options. Now, if you have items that are not inside a project matrix and they're not inside of Canvas, they're not part of a catalog or anything, I think, Kelly, I think you mentioned it earlier that you guys created the miscellaneous parts.
Yeah, I'm kind of setting them up as we go and as they're needed.
Okay. So you know what?
Small library.
Just for something simple, I created an Excel spreadsheet. In fact, I think I still have it. That here. Well, these are my COM vendors, and I can send this to you. But these are
great.
These are the COM vendors I have. You know, which I don't think there's all that much here, but you can take this and import this right into eManage, and it's real easy just to go in and grab all your just to type it inside of here. You know, all your miscellaneous, the MISC, dash, whoever, and I can even send you what I have, and you can import it in. It's really fast and easy to import it in. And
yeah, if you don't mind sending this to me.
Yeah, even this one, I went through, this is a list of every single vendor that I have that charges me freight.
Yeah.
And so what you can do is you can actually search these inside of eManage in the query, and you can just mark them as charges you freight, and you can go and set them up. But anyways, it just makes it really, you know, and just so you guys understand, let me just tell you this. I'm the owner of the company, okay? I went through and personally added all the miscellaneous parts, all the COM parts. I create all of our action items. I do, you know, all this stuff because I know the value that it brings to my company. And it's huge. It saves us on errors, saves us time, it saves us all this stuff. So anything new that comes out in eManage, I personally will do it for my team and get it done. And I'm not saying that Tim should go and do this for everybody, but I'm saying that this is how important. Yeah. Yeah, Tim should do it.
We're going to make him do list.
Yeah.
If he doesn't, it's going to have to be me, and I would rather it be him.
Yeah,
So.
I agree. No. But I guess the purpose of me saying that is that it is that important. Okay, so let's kind of look at this. I'm going to do a quote. I'm going to add some things here really fast, and then you guys can ask me questions after. Okay, so I have this quote that I imported. I'm going to add some ancillary items. So I'm going to do a new phase, and I'm going to sort this. 03. Oops. Okay, it's not going to be real fast because I type like crap. And I'm going to add Bowfern. I don't know if you guys use Bowfern, but I'm going to grab Bowfern and add them. Okay. COM. Yes. And COM is Maharam.
We don't even get those options.
I know. I'm gonna teach you guys something here in a second. Just watch what I'm doing. Okay. So now, where's my Bowfern? I have 2 of those, and I'm tabbing through this. My list price is $2,500 each. And my manufacturer's discount is a 50/20/5 tab, which comes out to 62%. Okay. And my margin, I'm just going to put that at a 30. I'll do that right now. And my Maharam, they're charging me $35 a yard, and I get a 50/10. Okay, so now what I did is I quickly just added a bow fern part. Now this bow fern actually is part number that, and it's a 3-seater sofa. Okay, got it? And then I can put in a description and a picture there. Okay, so now one thing that happens is I added my ancillary item, but it also, I added my COM for that. And now I'm going to go to print my quote. And then I can print my quote, and then all the items are there. Now, one thing that happens is down here, I have a new line item that showed up. And it's called vendor overland freight. It's land freight, and that's a description. Well, if I scroll across here, you'll notice one is for bow fern and one is for Maharam. When you go to print this quote, it's going to tell you, hey, you have land freight, but you have no pricing. Do you want to print the quote? It will remind you that you forgot to price out this the land freight. So then what you do is then you go in here and you enter the dollar amount. Now, one of the things that I did with this land freight is rather than adding a quantity and then adding the lid and adding a margin and all that, this part already has a margin, and I put a 10% margin on it. So my cost is $1, but my list is 1.11, which is the margin. So if they give me a price and it's going to cost $150, all I do is type in 150, and these guys it's going to cost, you know, $83. I just type in 83, and it already gave me my sell price with a margin on it. Okay, so I didn't have to go and sit there and figure out the margin. I just typed it in. I'm done. Now, if I have another item in here that is not, I'm going to do a new phase, and I'm just going to put this as 05 and P matrix. Now, this item, I'm going to select the BOM, and I go down here to project matrix, and I'm going to add, I don't know, a pirouette table from KI. Fix, rectangle, 29, 18, 74. And we'll do that. And this color. And skip. Oh, to be determined. And accept. So now I just added items from Project Matrix. Okay. Okay, and there's my quote. Now I can go and print my quote. When I print my quote, then all those items are there. Okay. Did you guys follow me on that?
Yes.
Okay. And so now on my quote, all that stuff that I just added is there. Now, come on. I should probably pick the smaller quote. But then all these items are here. So we have the ancillary items, and then I added one called P matrix. And so that will all be in here. Okay? Now, a couple of things that happen. Oh, and while we're here, the way you validate things through links is you just click on this web service and submit. And you select the, you fill out this information here. And if I wanted to select a different SPA, I can select that, and then I hit submit. And when you submit this, you submit it, and then you can go back to doing whatever you were doing in this quote. So you could continue to build this bill of materials and do it, and start, adding pictures and so on. So you can do all of that. Okay.
I noticed, I'm sorry, I got to back you up a little bit. I noticed that picture populated for you when you added it just automatically. I'm going to fix that.
Yeah.
Never mind. I'm being told to hush.
Yeah. Yeah. One thing, Hey, Callie, one thing you want to make sure is that everybody has all the project matrix that's downloading so that they have access to the images, right? So.
Right, I wrote down a note
Yeah.
to fix everybody's.
Yep. And then under tools and a user preferences, then you'll see that. You might have to, I can send you, you see this grid layout here? How this is set up?
Yeah.
Pictures here. And I have this thing called ordered and error. I can send you this grid layout. And then you can add, even how my grid is set up here in the top. I have these layouts, and all I do is I click on this little red button and grid functions, and I just basically save this grid layout, and then I send it to you, and then you load it. And it will update.
And will that populate every time we go into a project?
Yeah, then what you'll want to do is you're going to want to give it a name, and then you'll click on this save button with the hand, and that will save it as a company default. So only people that have the rights can do this. So not everybody can do it, but yeah, then you'll save it as a company default. So you and I can get together after, and I'll go over some of that with you. Okay.
Perfect.
Okay, now, real quick, and I'll get back to those other options that I had that popped up for you guys. But what I want to show you guys is, you saw how, and make sure when you're inside of vManage, especially in the grids, right click, and you're going to notice a lot of stuff in here. Okay? And there's a lot of things in here that are pretty important. You know, like changing name, you could just change the name right in the field, so you don't have to do this. But the copy and paste and adding new options and so on. But right here is something that I want to show you guys that is really, really important. Okay, do you guys, are the salespeople having to do service items?
What?
Like warranty?
Depends on who you ask.
Okay, I'm going to show you what you can do for warranty items like Zodi arm caps, or even for customers that buy the same thing over and over again. Okay, so this customer here, I'm going to leave this option here. This is a quote I gave to this customer, but this is a customer that always buys from me. And then they also said, hey, Stefan, on the same project, can you give me a quote for the Zodi chairs that we always order? Well, rather than going through and creating a new option and importing or project matrix and doing all that stuff, I've saved this already. I saved it to my clipboard. So all I do is I right click and I paste from Clipboard Manager. So right now, let me uncheck the show deleted. And this is my Clipboard Manager. And I have like FHB KIC, Zodi. Down here I have service parts, arm caps, black, arm caps, fog. Down here I have value chairs. And then here's a Zodi chair standard. So what I'm going to do is, this is the chair that they always get, and you can categorize this by, you know, this is stock items, system center, this is service parts, FHB is First Hawaiian Bank. You can name it whatever you want, but I'm going to grab this one and I'm going to paste it. So basically what I just did is, this option is done. Chair quote. It's already in order. It has my labor. It has my discounts. And it even has, if I'm not mistaken, it has a picture on it and a description. I'm done. All I do is print a quote. Okay? So if there's things that you guys are reusing over and over again, you can set it up inside of the bill of materials, give it a name, do everything, and then right-click on it and copy and save to my Clipboard Manager. And it's going to ask you for a name, and you could call this, I'm going to say, sample of Zodi desk. And then the category, it will create a drop down every time you type something in there, or you could type something new, and I can say inner plan. And then I can make this public and share with all of my users. And then this is saying use the pricing type from the copied items, unchecked, blah, blah, blah. You know, I normally just leave this and save. So now, when I want to go, I get another request. I can just right click, paste, and I go to inner plan, and done. And there it is. Okay, I need to do service item, right click, I go to my Zodi arm caps black, paste, and done. And what that includes, here's the part, and here's my labor I'm billing back Hayworth. Okay, so that's all there. I can even take this and copy it and go and paste it to another project. So you can copy and paste that things back and forth. Okay? You guys got it?
Yeah.
You got a question? Now, on that, you know, when I copied and, you know, I saved this to the clipboard manager, you can save it at any level. So you notice how there's 3 levels? You have an option level, you have a phase level, and you have a BOM level, and you also have part levels. So if I only wanted to save this service part, I can save this service part to my clipboard manager just at the BOM level, and then just paste it wherever I want. Okay, so you can save any level, because when you look at the clipboard manager, and if I just kind of shrink these guys down, you'll notice that it actually is, here's my BOM level, this is my option level, this is my part level, and this is my phase level. So it will sort it out. Yeah, see down here I have parts I use all the time. Okay? So you guys can save that at different levels. Any questions on that?
It's awesome.
Okay. Now, Kelly, I'm not going to get too far into this, but maybe you and I can take this offline, and I can show you how to set this up. But when I did this, and you know, I typed in, let me say, I'll just type, oh, I spelt it wrong. I have my miscellaneous. When I add my miscellaneous, these boxes popped up.
Yeah.
And it says COM yardage and ocean freight. These are 2 things that we're pretty much always adding to this vendor. And so COM yardage, so this is a reminder. And basically what it is, it's called associated parts. So basically I said, okay, these parts are associated with this Bernhard part. So, and then what I did on top of that is COM. Basically, I'm acknowledging that I'm going to have COM. So I've just put a quantity of 1, but I have associated parts to that part that are all the COM manufacturers.
Mm-hmm.
And then I add that, and I can add the COM, and then I can close this out. Now, another thing here too, and you know, I'm getting a little bit deep too on this, but this is this COM yardage right here. If you had this Maharam, and maybe it was not only for this Bernhard, but it was for a bunch of other chairs and other manufacturers, you can right click on this and do the COM manufacturer assignment. And then you can assign it to all the different manufacturers that are part of this project. So I could say, you know, maybe it's Arconis, and the quantity to ship to this manufacturer is 1. And then I can put the send to and so on and mark for, and I save that. And then the next one is maybe is going to Hayworth and save that. And what this does is now this part knows when you create the purchase orders for Maharam, it's going to create 2 separate purchase orders to Maharam with 2 different ship to addresses automatically. Okay. Okay. I showed you that because this is only this stuff that I'm showing you is only the tip of the iceberg of what eManage can do for you guys, and to make things. Yeah.
It is cool.
Yeah, this stuff is super cool. When you guys, you know, another thing that I mentioned earlier is if you needed to change, say you need to change the tax or things on this, is you can select all these parts and right click, and you can change this stuff all at one time. Okay. Even the descriptions, if you want to change the descriptions, this is changing everything all at one time. Okay. One thing I forgot to mention, Kelly, earlier, is this price buy. If you, where's my price buys? When you open these price buys, and this is actually, I just opened all 3, but if I just wanted to look at,
Okay, I have a question about this. When we do price buy, it only seems to work that you can do price by manufacturer code. None of the other boxes actually open anything.
well,
Is that like a setting that's set up wrong? Or
yeah, you have to click, you have to make sure you're clicked on, you know, as you click on these guys behind here. So you see if I click on option, this first one, how many parts categories it shows. And if I click on this one, now there's only 2. But if I select them all, then it's going to show all of them. And one of the things that if you do change this margin in here, and I change this to 20, it doesn't update right away inside of the grid. But if you click on the grid down here, it will refresh the grid, or even if you click refresh, and it actually does update it. So it does update it. But this also goes back, Kelly, to check to make sure that the items are set to be adjustable.
Okay, I will. But my question is more when we hit price buy, all those boxes, like we can only price by manufacturing code. Is there something that I need to set up so that we can price by manufacturer or price by product type?
Yeah, it should do it. So what happens here is you see this button. This says turn on off special 3-pane. If you click on this one, then this is the different ones that you want. So if you want to do it by manufacturer, or you want to do it by product type, then you can do it here. Now, this is different than vendor. You have to set the manufacturer. So
Right.
this is different. So I would use either category, type, or code. They're always going to be there. So if you click on category, here's the categories by manufacturer. And if you only want to see, you can right click on this and turn on your filter. And if you only want to see, Hayworth, then you can do that.
Right.
No, it's filter.
Oh, right. A little green.
Yeah. And as you click on those in the background, it will change. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. I want to show. I'm trying to think of some other cool stuff I could show you here. Do you guys have any questions of doing this quote and how it shows up?
I don't think so.
Okay. When you, and if I click back on this quote here, so I have all my quotes, and when you double click on these, then these are your settings. Oh, let me explain this real quick, because this is also another really cool and important thing. So obviously read through these settings of what they are, and you can try them out and just uncheck them, check them. But like if you want to show the manufacturer on every single line item, you can show the customer initial, or add customer initials on the footer of every one, and so on. But you have your title. So this, you can type whatever you want the title to be, which is good for the cover. And then the summary page, and generally, for my company, we always do it by option and phase. And then if you have a direct bill, you can set the direct bill if it's a direct bill project. Your terms and conditions, terms of sale, obviously you'll set, that will be a default. But then doing an invoice, a deposit invoice, whether you guys do it with every quote or you just come in here and print one, so you don't have to get accounting involved. You can just print that deposit invoice just by clicking that button, and it will print just the invoice, the deposit invoice, which is right there. But you can also have some predefined text here. So on this deposit invoice, you can say, pay first or get nothing. And then when you print that, then it will show up in the little here, pay first or get nothing. Okay. So you can make this text, and you can also have some customer sign-off text, but you can even set defaults. So you can type in information here and then save it. You can save it down here, and then I can use checked items, and look, it automatically put the text in there, so I don't even have to type it. Now, a big one that I really like and I find very important is this alternative scope. And this is
Good thing Katie's late, isn't it?
so this is where you can type information about the project. Okay, and you can make it bold and everything, and when you save and print, then it's going to show right on the summary page. So it shows right here. So when you're giving a quote to a customer, then you can type out what the scope of work is right here. You can say, the following quote is to consist of the dismantle, remove and disposal of existing furniture and installation of all new furniture for, the conference room on the 3rd floor, blah, 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 blah. But anyways, you can put that all right here on your quote so that it's all in one place. It's not in an email or in a different cover letter, but it's all on one quote. Okay? All right, guys. You guys got any questions or?
I'm sure we will once we start doing all.
Yeah. Okay. And remember,
great. Thank you.
Yeah, just try to do some of this stuff. You really can't. You're not going to break anything, number one. But if you guys have a sample project, like maybe create a sample project and just start playing with things and testing it, and copy and paste, add items, type some of the items, but you're going to be you'll find that it's going to be very easy to move around inside of here once you get used to it. Where you guys are at is just getting used to it and figuring things out. So you're kind of in this exploratory time, and trust me, once you guys get it and start going, you're going to start to see just huge benefits, especially when you got to go back to projects. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Was that helpful, guys?
Thank you.
Yeah, very helpful. Thank you so much.
Okay, good. Well, I recorded this, so I'll give it to you guys so you guys can watch it as a group and talk about it.
Okay.
And stuff. So
Perfect.
anyways, all right, guys.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Have a good day.
All right, you too. Take care.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.